One last leg is holding us through the end of Monster Hunter World Iceborne. This game has so much endgame content, and with only 1 week left till Wilds drops, we can't afford stopping anywhere. Having beat FalKKonE last time, the monsters that are left are all around Elder Dragon difficulty, and given what monsters I know are waiting ahead for us, this is only the beginning. So let's not burn any more time, and delve straight into it. So, last we left off, we had finally taken out FalKKonE. However, that is followed by Elder Dragons beginning to swarm all the other areas, essentially taking the problem we just solved and multiplying it by 100. So our current goal is to deal with the source of the problem. So naturally, we get sent to the other recess to investigate, only to find tracks that look oddly familiar. But I really took the stage the second FalKKonE was out. It's kind of funny. But before we're able to find out much more, we get interrupted by
Tactical nuke incoming!
Not gonna lie, I had been wondering where this monster was the whole time, but this isn't exactly the same Bazelgeuse we fought before. Like for one, this one has LEDs. And its explosions are bigger. Now this is a monster variant, which means that it's more closely tied to its base form. If you fought a Bazelgeuse, you probably know how to fight this one. The only thing you need to learn is the extra explosion radius. However, this doesn't mean that this is easy. Far from it. This monster deals so much damage. Plus, given that the monster takes into the air so often, being in master rank makes this fight so much tougher, since flashbots aren't a guaranteed way to take a monster out of the sky, which makes it so you don't have as many free hits and need to plan out your attacks more deliberately. And given how iconic this monster's explosiveness is, you can't really make a subspecies without losing the identity, at least in my opinion. If you have any ideas on how that could even work, feel free to drop it in the comments. You know, for fun. But yeah, after we beat the RGBs out of him, we capture it and head back to Soliana. Our next goal, gather all the dragon tracks and take them out as they pop up. So, I decided to use this intermission to test out a new anti-dragon build, and what better way to test it out than with a very angry Pickle. So, while I gather the tracks, why not drop a like if you enjoyed the video so far, or subscribe if you enjoy my type of content. The amount of support that you guys have shown these videos really means the world to me, so let's keep growing our little community, okay? Thanks! Now, let's check back and pass me. Yeah, that's about right. Anyways, having tested out our build, we head out after the first Elder Dragon, in the Ancient Forest. We know from the mission assignment that it's a form of Valhazak, which if I remember correctly deals dragon damage, so I decide to head straight in. It takes me a while to find him because I didn't know in what part of the forest he is, but once I found him, we go straight into— oh wait, he's just chill with us. Well, can be helped. Similar to traditional Valhazak, this monster is an endurance test. This time, you'll get the effluvium debuff even if you just attacked him, as well as having a bunch of different ways to use his gas beam. On top of that, he can leave clouds of gas on the ground, and any and all these things will give you the effluvium debuff, which is a refresher, cuts your HP in half, which in and of itself is not that bad if it wasn't for two things. One, you can only carry 10 nullberries, the item you use to heal it, and two, while half of your health is recoverable, that assumes that you aren't getting hit, and once again, literally existing around him hurts. A lot. But hey, now we know that we need to be a little bit more careful. And besides, it's not really that different from the regular Valhazak anyways. A monster I hunted a fair few times while trying to get to the Tempered Kirin, so I shouldn't have that much trouble taking it down. Oh no.
I'm dead!
No, this is where I started being a little bit more worried, because those were 2 deaths back to back. So far, we haven't really failed to hunt outright. And no, I'm not counting Behemoth because that's stupid. So I changed to playing a lot more carefully, while trying to minimize how many times we get the effluvium debuff. In comparison to the regular Valhazak fight, instead of having to be super aggressive to beat its gathering factor for the effluvium, this fight is more of a poke and run kind of thing, letting us save on our resources, until we're able to wear the monster down until it goes to its den. And since it's an Elder Dragon, you know what comes next. And that's that. I personally like this psych on Valhazak. It makes you have to be a lot more careful rather than trying to overwhelm it. Now, after this, we need to gather more tracks for the next Elder Dragon, so I end up rematching the fight, very quickly giving us access to the next Elder Dragon, so let's see what it has in store. What the f is this thing? Oh no, it's a water dragon. We head out to hunt the Namielle. I quickly double checked that our water resistance isn't that bad, which it isn't, thankfully, and we give it chase. You know, it looked a lot more intimidating in a cutscene. This is a new Elder Dragon. Its gimmick being that it creates water puddles on the ground, which it can then use in its attacks to knock you off your feet, or even extend the reach of some of its attacks. And unlike Vaal, who had to place these intentionally, Namielle will casually place them as it fights. So it won't be long before you're completely surrounded by water puddles. Add to this is another monster that packs quite a punch. And you can already tell how this can be a tough boss fight. However, this is not a monster with only one element, like the ones we've seen so far. It also has a lightning mode. It will mainly use it as pounce attacks, which aside from being pretty fast in and of itself, if they hit the water puddles, it will extend the reach of the attack, making them really hard to dodge. And remember when I was checking my armor stats? Yep, I certainly had a weakness for lightning, so each hit of this I took really hurt. Sometimes I was able to recover, others, not so much. Now, I will say that this is a really fun monster, love the design and the aesthetic, and it's a really fun fight on top of that as well, but not really all that hard. And I feel like this is because you can choose to fight it away from its puddles, so it doesn't really get to benefit from them, as well as since its lightning form also evaporates them, making your job to avoid them even easier. Not that that's anything wrong, I think it's really interesting. And with a few more hits, we are able to bring it down. After that, we return to Soliana, where we are able to find the Elder Dragon causing all of this. So, after boarding another airboat, we begin to make our way to it. We set up camp in this little clearing, before beginning to look for the Everworm. And after entering the most obvious boss arena this side of Dark Souls, we get visited by an old friend, Nergigante. But this isn't the regular one. This is a variant called the Ruiner Nergigante. At least of vibes alone, it feels faster and stronger. It has less wind up for its attacks, and its spines grow so much quicker, especially given the small size of the arena. This is as straight up as a test of your abilities as there can be. You can't escape from it, but it also can't leave to try to grow its spines, so the only downtime you'll get is when you get carded. That being said, this arena is meant to reward you if you actually learn how to play the game's mechanics. While it's pretty small to accommodate Nergigante's only melee kit, it is still small enough where you can outrun some of its attacks. There are ledges you can use to mount it, and a good amount of slinger ammo to either stun it from attacks or wall slam it, both of these giving you an opening to swing the fight back in your favor, or heal or sharpen your weapons. I still stand by Nergigante being the best representation of a Monster Hunter fight, so a tougher version of it being our final test before reaching the final boss is amazing in my opinion. Plus, going against all the other Elder Dragons, I was beginning to miss fighting this guy. I do really enjoy his fight, and while it took every single resource I had except a single healing potion, I was able to beat him without carding once. This is one of the best things about Monster Hunter, that satisfaction when something just goes perfectly right. The other series really land that spot for me. But yeah, let's see what our carves are. Only large dragon bones, huh? I changed my mind. We don't get to celebrate that much, however, as the ground opens up, revealing the true final boss of the game, dropping the Nergigante carcass and us down to a lower level of the arena. And now we are face to face with it, without getting to restock our items. Oh shit. I know I'm not gonna get through this in one go, so I try to use this first life to learn how this monster fights. It's slow and lumbering, but its attacks pack an insane amount of punch. Side note, I lost the footage of this original fight, so the footage you'll be seeing is my rematch with it, from the hunt and the event quest. I inevitably get KO'd, and get sent back to camp where I can restock. I'm also able to grab some slinger ammo that was up here. Now fittingly, flingshotting is extremely effective on this monster, since you can knock it onto specific parts of the wall, dealing damage, and then having boulders fall on him, dealing even more damage, and grounding it. However, this thing has a lot of tricks under its wings. Hands. This thing can burrow underground and protect itself from being attacked. Its wings are really armored, so it's hard to hit him when it's down there, and it can dilute the ground to make it sandy, making it extremely hard to move around. It also can just bulldoze around the entire arena, but thankfully we've seen a fair few monsters who can do that, so not that hard to dodge, as long as you're not dead center of its charge. But without too much trouble, we're able to beat it and... yeah, that was just its first form. Well, in this state, it is way faster, and it will use its wings less as hammers and more like blades. This is accompanied by the arena opening up, mainly because the monster gains a very important tool, and that is its sonic attacks. It will create beams of what I'm assuming is sound. These travel really far and deal a ludicrous amount of damage, and it will incorporate it throughout its attacks, either sweeping in and out and in, as a massive laser beam, and even as follow-ups for normal attacks. Comparing it to Safi'Jiva, this definitely feels like a monster that is more experienced and knows how to use its powers much more effectively. It can even use the rock slides that you could wall slam them into, breaking them and sometimes even hitting you with them. This stage is much harder, since basically all its attacks are much faster and it can still turn the ground into sand. However, there is one big upside to this stage, and that's when it goes to use its wing attack, you know, the laser beam thing, it ends up leaving itself vulnerable. You can get a few hits in before it is able to move again, and those add up over time. Just be careful to not get too greedy, and while he might destroy some of the traps around the edges, you can still wall bounce him, which deals a good amount of damage. Slinger ammo will spawn all alongside the edges of the arena, and it will drop some eventually on its own, so make sure to make use of that. And after that, we are able to psych. It has a third form. The arena opens up even further, and it gains the ability to use this massive attack. You either need to be at the very edge of the arena or superhero dive. Do not get hit by it. And the worst part, in my opinion, is that it's open its eyes. And just in case you can't see it for yourself, they're horrifying. They are unsettling as is. And that's when you realize that they even follow the camera, making them all the more unsettling. I get carded again in this part of the fight. I had run through all my healing resources again. So, with our last attempt, I go and I restock once more, head back down, and try one last time. Yeah, apparently I was that close. And that's that. The final boss of Monster Hunter World Ice. Psych, this is it in its final form. And with that, Nergigante comes in clutch and finishes it off. Truly fitting as the Elder Dragon that feeds on Elder Dragons. And with that, we are now truly finished. We head back to Soliana triumphantly, though still leaving us with our Nergigante problem. But we'll get into that next time. So for now, I hope you enjoyed the video. It is insane how much support y'all have shown these videos. I say it a lot, but it really do means the world to me. Key among them, I want to highlight our new Discord server that is now up and running. It's only been up for a week, but it's already so lively. We had our first community hunt in the Wilds beta, and we got to chat and have fun. It is also where our first piece of fan art came from, done by the amazing EquinoxDoodles. Honestly, it looks really good, and I'm really curious as to what monster is the one that they drew. Anyone else hear that? Anyways, if you're hearing this, thank you so much for watching. Y'all's support really means a lot to me. I really wouldn't be here without it. If you haven't yet, like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you enjoy this style of content. And join our Discord server if you would like. Our little community grows day by day, so let's keep fostering it. But for now, that's all I have. Thanks for watching, take care, bye!